Hey, hey, it's an unstoppable day, family. You've got your life accountability coach, Terrance, the unstoppable coach Leftridge, here with you. And welcome to another episode of the Next Level Living Show, where we talk to ordinary people doing extraordinary things to live their life on the next level. We're coming to you live and in color through Google Hangout, and we are also broadcasting simultaneously through Periscope. So you can check me out at Coach Terrance on Periscope if you want to also watch this broadcast and connect with us live and in person. It's going to be a great show tonight, so we want to just jump right into it. I thank everybody who's going to watch this, who's watching it live or who's watching it later on in replay mode. We're talking about financial literacy tonight. And you know what? We are coming up on the end of June 2016, the first 6 months in June. And I bet you're asking yourself the question, where did all my good money go? Are you asking that question out there in Periscope land? Yes, 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 indeed. Thank you so much for that response. Do you know where your money is? Do you know what you've done with your money over the last 6 months? And do you have a plan for what you're going to do with your money between now and the end of the year to take yourself to the next level of your greatness in terms of your goals, in terms of your dreams, in terms of your financial planning for retirement? Well, that's some of the things we're going to touch on tonight as we go through with our special guest tonight. His name is Roger Silvera, and since 2000, Roger has been providing financial strategies to a client base that includes executives, professionals, and business owners. And as the CEO of LLWP Wealth Partners Incorporated, it's a company that addresses the issues of clients such as asset protection, tax efficiency, college planning, long-term care, disability income, and safe money wealth accumulation, not expenditures, but accumulation strategies to help you grow your money. But what I love about Roger, and I've had the opportunity to know him for a few years right now, is that he's got a heart for what he's doing. He's not just out there to take your money and put you into a 401k or put you into an IRA. He is really more concerned about you as the whole person, what you plan on doing with your hopes and dreams, and how your money can be used as a tool to make that happen. So Roger is also an author, and he's got an upcoming book that we're going to be talking about on the show that's called Cash Slow to Cash Flow. So without further ado, let's bring him into the conversation. The CEO of LLWP Wealth Partners, Roger A. Silvera. Roger, are you on the broadcast?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. We can hear you very well. How you doing this evening, Roger?
Fantastic, man. Thank you for the warm introduction. I definitely appreciate it. And thank you to all the listeners and fans of the show. And, you out in Chicago and doing your thing, man. And, got a great base of people that are watching you and you're fulfilling your mission and vision, of giving good content out there to the marketplace. And so you guys are definitely, in great hands with Terrance. He is definitely somebody that's trailblazing and leaving a mark for positive level minded content out there in the marketplace. There's more of that that's needed. And so I'm glad Terrance is actually spearheading that initiative.
Well, thank you for those kind words. But let's jump right into it, and let's tell the audience a little bit more about you. And what I
Mhm.
like to do with each and one of my guests on the Next Level Living Show is we like to start out by asking you, Roger A. Silvera, what does it mean to you to be living life on the next level?
Great question, man. I think the biggest thing with living life to on the next level is obviously a daily regimen of improvement. It starts with spiritual improvement. On a daily basis, you must continuously strive and thrive into a new dimension of getting better spiritually, or really, in a sense, connected to the source. A lot of people are disconnected. That's why you see a lot of people stray away from marriages, have messed up finances, Their career relationships are shot, is because they're mentally disconnected from the source, and whatever source is that for you. I mean, you don't have to be, Christian or whatever the case may be. There's different people on this line, and we definitely want to recognize everybody. Okay. But also, you need to develop that regimen for yourself on a day-to-day basis. So that's the first thing. The second thing is living life to the next level on a physical level, right? Is being able to have energy so that you could support the drive and the initiative, especially if you're entrepreneurs. And if you're entrepreneurs, you know that it's not a 9 to 5 thing. It's a dark 30 in the morning to a dark 30 at night thing. And your drive and passion wakes you up in the morning. One of the things I see a lot of people do is they get woken up by an alarm clock. You see, and here's the thing I want you guys to understand is that the spirit needs to wake you up. All right, the spirit needs to wake you up. But the spiritual and the physical are interconnected. So that's one of the things that you want to keep in mind, is that you want to get your physical body on a day-to-day basis right. And that's eating right. That's making sure that you're working out. It's making sure that you're drinking enough water and things of that nature, and the right types of water, right? There's
Right.
a lot of stuff out there that is processed and things of that nature. Watch what you're putting in your body. So spiritual and physical, and then obviously the other thing is controlling your emotions, right? Living life to the next level requires you to control your emotions. Also requires you to control your mind, and also requires you to control your mouth. So your mind, your mouth, and your emotions. If you do not know how to control those three things, ladies and gentlemen, you will not reach the type of success or the level of success that you know that you're deserving of. All right, let me repeat that you know that you're deserving of. All right, because mind, body, and spirit were three-part beings, mind, body, and spirit. Okay, and knowing that you have the capacity to fulfill your mission and vision of becoming a wholesome person, becoming a person that enjoys life and gives back and is able to make an impact. All right, we're not just looking for people to exist in this world. We're looking for people to thrive in this world, and not only thrive, but then have the capacity to help others thrive as well. All right, so those components are an emphasis, in terms of being able to live life on the next level, right? A lot of people are stagnant and stuck, all right? And to be quite frank with you, that's a choice. It's a choice you make in life, is it whether you're stuck or stagnant, or you're progressively moving. And so by the habits and the thoughts that come before the habits, right? All those things have a chain link effect. All right. And so if one thing is out of order, you got to get to the root of the problem. All right. If you have, bad sleeping habits, and you're waking up late, or you're not giving enough effort, right? These are all choices that we make, and we got to look at, okay, what is the root of these issues, and focus on the root, and get to developing the right thoughts that turns into the right actions that leads into the right results.
Wow, I love it. Roger, you're talking more than just financial literacy. You're giving us a full education tonight. I dig it, man. So
Yeah.
we're talking to Roger Silvera, and as I said, we are also simulcasting live on Periscope right now. So shout out to Queen 77 and shout out to Lisa Hall. Please invite your friends. Please invite your followers. We are going to be talking about financial literacy here on the Next Level Living show. And you can also join us in Facebook, on our Facebook group at the Next Level Living show on Facebook. Put a question in there, put a comment in there, and we'll make sure that we'll get that information back to Roger either live on the broadcast, or we'll get it to him after the broadcast as well, because I'm sure once we get into the meat of it, you'll start having some questions that you want to ask. So in Periscope as well, if you've got some financial questions for our financial guru tonight, go ahead and put them in the Periscope feed, and we'll try to get to them. So Roger, giving us all, you're well-rounded, you're a well-learned man. You spoke from the heart about the spiritual, mental, physical. What led you into the passion which you are living your life in now, in the financial world and in financial literacy?
Well, number one, I saw an impact, or let's say a level of need in this area. Okay, there's a statistic that says that 2 out of 3 people, okay, in America are financially illiterate. And if you really think about that particular statistic, that's a heck of a statistic, right?
Yes.
And what most people are quite frankly, are statistics, all right? Because they again make the choices that they make, right? Is to be financially literate is simply a choice, all right? Now, to be financially literate is also a choice. Everything revolves around choices, and so your money is no different, okay? But we saw a need to really help people with the proper levels of education, all right? And one of the things our firm is very proud about is that we've actually trademarked a phrase called "how money works." And it's funny because this industry has been around a very long time, and that phrase has never been trademarked. And so we actually trademarked the phrase "how money works." And
Wow.
so yeah. And so one of the things that our firm is very steadfast in is, how about if we can get how money works not just to professionals and entrepreneurs, but what about to single moms? What about to um, you know kids? What about to different groups, right? Um, whatever the case may be, we want to get how money works, the type of education that you would receive. And these are simple financial concepts. Again, here's the thing that I look at with in relation to financial literacy. It does not have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be laborious. And quite frankly, what happens a lot of is that people fall prey to gathering a lot of information about personal finance. They listen to this person, they listen to that person, and it's very difficult to decipher if that information makes sense. And I'm sure every one of you guys on the line tonight can relate, all right? In some way, shape, or form, you listen to a banker, you listen to maybe somebody on the radio, and you thought that was a great idea, right? And some people, have success, and some people get burned, all right? And for the folks that get burned, one of the things I tell people is like, listen, you cannot take financial advice by way of an opinion. It doesn't work, okay? And the reason why it doesn't work is because in the financial game, you have to know and understand how different pieces work together. It's no different from a jigsaw puzzle, right? You put everything together collectively and coherently so that it makes a picture, right?
So
And
would you
but
say, Roger, that's the definition of financial illiteracies, that we haven't learned how to put the pieces of the puzzle together as far as our finances concerned, or is there a deeper definition to financial illiteracy as it relates to the common everyday man or woman?
part of it's choice. Part of it's
Okay.
choice. Like I said, I think that the other thing too is um, there are a lack of efficient programs. There's a lot of information out there, but a lot of it's foolishness. And the American public is getting hurt by the inundation of information, and it's coming from the media, the financial institutions, the IRS, corporations. I mean, it's coming from every which way and angle, and it's very difficult, again, like I said, to make a very clear set of financial decisions. Notice I just said the word set of financial decisions, because one of the things I see a lot of that a lot of people do is they make their financial decisions in a very segmented point of view, meaning that they'll make a decision here, they'll make a financial decision maybe a year later, and then make another series of financial decisions moving forward. But that still causes a level of confusion because they don't know how all those decisions actually correlated together to create this sheet of music or puzzle or picture, however phrase you want to call it. It has to be done in a congruent fashion. One of the things I share with people is that to become financially literate, or to make financially literate quote unquote decisions, you have to do it in a way where it's simultaneous, that it's I understand if I do this, I get this, but that also affects this. So that's the benefit of what the type of work that we do in our firm is we help people make holistic financial decisions, looking at the entire picture versus one segment of the picture.
Wow. Okay. So tell us, can you give us some trade secrets as to how that's done within your firm?
Sure. We actually use a program called Circle of Wealth, and Circle of Wealth is simply a platform that was created by a gentleman that simply wanted to serve the financial services industry in a different light. The whole premise to Circle of Wealth is addressing four tough financial questions that most people want to get answered, but never seem to have any clarity to those specific questions. And it's funny, I had a young lady today in my office, and we were talking about the four specific questions with her, and it's totally really, shifted her perspective on how and perhaps even why she's doing the things that she's doing, and really helping her understand that there's a lot more that she could be doing, right? And so
Right.
the four toughest financial questions are this. Number one is, given, what rate of return do I need to have on my savings and investment dollars in order for me to have enough retirement income adjusted for inflation that can support my current lifestyle in my retirement years and have that money last to what we call my life expectancy. So let me kind of break those pieces down. So basically, what rate of return do I need to have on my savings and investment dollars, okay, in order for me to replace the income that I have today in my retirement years, and making sure that that money continuously lasts at least to my life expectancy. Okay. The second is, how much money do I have to actually even put away on a monthly or annual basis in order for me to have enough retirement income, or not enough retirement capital per se, in order for me to cover my current lifestyle in my retirement years, again adjusted for inflation, that lasts to my life expectancy. The third question is a very daunting question. If I didn't do anything different than I'm doing today, how long would I have to work in order for me to have the same current lifestyle that I live today in my retirement years, adjusted for inflation, that money can last to my life expectancy? And then the last one is, if I didn't do anything different than I'm doing today, how much would I potentially have to reduce my standard of living in order for me to have enough retirement income that lasts to my life expectancy? I want you to understand the impact of these four specific questions. Okay, these four questions drive everything economically in your life. These four questions have the ability to create success beyond your wildest dreams, or if you ignore these four questions, they have the ability to destroy everything that you're working toward, right? These four questions are the emphasis behind a solid and stable financial plan. Okay. And so it's not the golf club that is in question, which is basically the financial products that you currently own. It's essentially the golf swing, which is really the strategies and the concepts. And really what it comes down to is the philosophies, right? How money works, right? Most people don't even understand, how long it takes for their money to double, right? It's called the rule of 72. I'm sure if I polled, 10 people, and not just on this line, but I'm just talking about 10 people in general, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 people will probably say, I'd never heard of the rule of 72. And the rule of 72 is very simple. It says, how long does it take your money to double? Okay. So let's say, for example, based on a 6% rate of return, right? You take 6 divided by 72, and that's 12 years, right? So 12 years it takes for your money to double, right? And so one of the biggest things also is measuring the impact of taxes and measuring the impact of losses. Right now, we live in an environment where we just, we're hit with what we call Brexit, right?
Right.
So Brexit, and Brexit was a very worldwide phenomenon. It affected our economy, it's still affecting our economy today, in massive aspects. People were losing, big chunks of money on their retirement plans, but here's the thing that I want people to understand. People, what they do typically is they'll mortgage their retirement futures off of very risky and very unstable foundations, meaning that they mortgage their future in these unstable investments, right? And so the impact of one loss can be financially devastating to somebody. I'll give you an example. People that were witnessed or actually were in the Enron situation back in the late 1990s, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Where where Enron went out of business because of bad decision making, right? Where people had three, four, five, six, $700,000 in their 401k assets, and just like that, gone, gone. I mean, retirement's just crushed, right? Is
And it's
because
and then what's so amazing about that is that a company that probably half of the population had absolutely nothing to do with, and even a smaller portion of the population probably didn't even know that company existed, how that one decision in that one company had such a ripple effect that affected the economy, not of just this nation, but of the world for a number of years. Isn't that correct?
yeah, yeah. Just really from the aspect of if you look at the folks security, the security of those folks. I mean, they were destitute. I mean, people that wanted to retire within the next year could never do it again. I mean, you talking about people are mortgaging their retirement futures off of these risky investments. I'm not saying don't do a 401k or, have investment real estate or have different stocks or other investments that could lose money. But one of the things that we want to do from a financial literacy perspective is help you understand the impact of losses and also then the impact of taxes. And taxes are a very big thing because what it does is truncate your ability to maximize your full financial potential. One of the things I will share with people is, right, let's say you are a mid-level to high income earner, and obviously you don't expect to go down anytime soon. We hope not. Hope that your income continues to go up, right? I had a young lady today, like I said, she makes a very decent income, and she said, you know what, I want to be in a higher tax rate because I know that, for that matter, I know I'm doing well, but doesn't mean I have to pay higher taxes, right? Because sometimes also it makes sense for somebody to actually pay the taxes now versus what we call postponing the taxes to a later date. What most people do in the 401k, in fact, not most people, all people, when they invest in a 401k, is people think they're actually saving taxes when they're putting money in their 401k. That simply is not the truth. All right. Because you're paying for your 401k plan with pre-tax dollars, right? You haven't been taxed on that money. So basically what you're doing is you're putting the seed money, right? And then you hope that the harvest grows extensively so that when you're ready to take out the harvest, you're paying tax at a potentially higher income tax rate than what you're paying now. And I want you to think about that. Let's say you're in a 25% bracket now, you potentially may take the money out maybe in a 40% bracket 10, 15 years from now, or whenever you decide you want to take that money out for your retirement picture. And there's a lot of restrictions. You can't take the money out to 59 and a half. You can only take it out for certain occurrences and things of that nature. So we've been led to think that these plans are very, very fruitful, and then they have their place, but they're not the centerpiece of a financial plan. I like to kind of think of the centerpiece of a financial plan as like the equivalent of a Swiss Army knife, is having the ability to have multiple uses and multiple angles that offer maybe protection, offer maybe some tax benefits, offer some ability to get access to capital. And especially as a business owner or an entrepreneur, when you talk about access to capital or maximizing capital, that's a big thing to most entrepreneurs, right? And so, right now, people are tired of putting their money into very, low yielding investments, right? Inflation is killing that return, or if they're not getting any return, it might be safe, but they're not getting any return, right? The other flip side is they're putting more of their money at risk, right? And so, again, the first question I asked about the four questions is, what rate of return do I need to have? People say, I need to have a 10, 15, maybe even 20% return. And I said, well, that's great, but here's the thing that you want to keep in mind, that potentially you're going to put your money at a heck of a lot more risk by trying to achieve what we call a home run, right?
Right.
And it's not about hitting home runs, it's about hitting consistency. See, I'd rather be Derek Jeter than Alex Rodriguez. Why? Because why?
Okay.
Because Derek Jeter is a perennial 3-4. I think he's like a 330, 340 batting average, right? And he's consistently clutch. Whereas Alex Rodriguez is not even in that, in that batting range. Yeah, he may have more home runs, but he strikes out a lot.
Right.
You
So
know,
he's more of a high risk, high return, as opposed to someone who is slow and steady and consistently coming
correct,
through and having a good rate of return. I
correct.
like that analogy, but maybe some of the people who's watching the broadcast, who's watching us on Periscope, may not be baseball fans, so that may not work for them. So
Yeah.
this is what I want to do. I want as we go through those four questions and we talk about your book, your upcoming book, Cash
Yes.
Flow to Cash Flow.
Right.
Let's talk about three different segments of people. Let's talk about maybe the millennial who's just started their new job. Maybe they are in the 20 to 30,000 tax bracket. And then let's talk about the baby boomer who is well, not the baby boomer, what we're Generation X, I believe that's what they're being called,
Right.
that are like in their 40s and they're a little bit seasoned. Maybe they are in the 50 to $75,000 tax brackets, and then the baby boomers, those people
Hmm.
who are almost in that retirement age and still trying to figure some things out. From a financial literacy standpoint, where your first
Hmm.
question asks about what type of rate of return should I have for my savings, my investments, my income, in order to support the lifestyle that I have right now and have it
Hmm.
last throughout my life expectancy. For
Hmm.
those different groups, those three groups,
Hmm.
what's one tip you would say to them to address that question right now, Roger?
Well, number one, for millennials, for people that are, let's say, early 20s, right now, the bottom line is you need to start now, right? And even let's just say if you were to put away, $200 a month or even $300 a month away, you know, and more millennials are making more money than ever. They are in different businesses. They're, they're in different ventures. Yep. Yep, they have the opportunity to maximize their true wealth potential because they're right now taking advantage or even creating opportunities where none existed before. So there is a huge capacity for millennials because of time, all right, and time value of money, where money can grow efficiently, over time. Um, but my advice to millennials is really to start now, to start now putting money away, but not just into one area. It's really having a plan, a strategy, a series of strategies for that matter. Focus on minimizing losses, minimizing the impact of taxes, maximizing growth potential, right? Giving you access to capital, making sure that your strategy addresses, if in case you ever become sick or injured, that your plan can continue to work for you. Those are things that need to be priority for millennials as we move forward, because again, they have obviously the most time. So right now they need to start now by putting money away. And here's the thing I want you guys to understand: you're never going to save your way, all right, to a successful retirement or a successful financial future. You need to make more money. Bottom line is everyone needs to make more money, all right? The days of we thought $100,000 was a lot of money, it's not. It
Yeah,
is, it's like living off of $30,000 in today's day and age, all right? So the impact in a sense is really looking at, okay, I know I need to make more money, and if I have certain skill sets that I can bring to the table, is really the $1 million nugget here is finding a way where your skill sets can bring value to the marketplace where people can pay you for it. So people can pay you for your skill sets. People can pay you for the knowledge in your brain, and you could turn it into dollars, right? If you have the ability to do that on a consistent basis, right? financial success is just a matter of time because the strategies can always be learned and inherited. What most people do is, even with people that make a lot of money, is they got that. This is a very, very critical piece, the making money part. They got that down. They just need to be able to learn how to manage that effectively through discipline and the right strategies. But you get a
But
lot of
I
people
think
that don't. Go
you've
ahead.
said to me in previous conversations that we need to learn how to, instead of working for our money, we need to learn how to have our money work for us. And
Exactly.
we got the first part down, learning how to make the money, but what do we do with the money after we've made it? And so you've made some key points about the millennials, but now let's talk about the Generation X. What's that piece of advice that you would tell them to do right now, seeing as though they are financially illiterate?
I think the biggest thing is understanding that there's more to life than a 401k, is really understand how all the pieces of the puzzle work together in concert. And that's really coming down to understanding, what you have access to, right? That's coming down to getting with a financial professional, whether it's me or somebody else, and really understanding what your options are, right? Understanding what it takes to protect your house financially, meaning that your protection, right? Understanding the different savings vehicles, right? And how to structure a cash flow model that works for you so that you have, number one, have access to money, and also you have long-term money set aside that's moving forward and is getting a consistent return. And then you're also taking advantage of tax breaks that are afforded to you, where you can pay. Now you have to pay your fair share of taxes, but at the end of the day, we want you to pay your fair share and not any dime more. Okay, we want you to be efficient with money, not being efficient, no, or to say deficient for that matter, by not understanding how taxes affect you and things of that nature. That's going to increase your financial literacy altogether. It's really coming down to looking at periodicals. You can, I mean, there are a few books I know. Masters of the Money Game by Tony Robbins is a wonderful book if you really want to learn about money. Tony Robbins' book, Masters of the Money Game. And it's funny because a lot of financial advisors shun away from that book because he talks about the financial industry as one industry that kind of in a way has failed the American consumer. But for me, it's like, look, I want people to understand that that book has a lot of merit, and even a lot of the strategies that are used in that side of that book, I use with my clients.
Okay.
And so, for me, I recognize good books when I see them. I recognize garbage when I see it. Now, one of the things I won't do is I won't name names or things for that matter because, people are entitled to a living. But I want you to be mindful of the fact that you need to do your own homework, be an educated consumer when it comes down to making money decisions, and picking a series of financial professionals that you can work with that have your best interests at heart.
So your advice for the millennials is start now. Your advice for the
Hmm.
Generation X is to recognize that there's more to life than a 401k, and get with a trusted professional who can
Right.
diversify you and show you other ways that you can invest, as well as protect your investments. So that's great. So now, what about for the baby boomers? What about for the ones who are very close to retirement age? In this day and age where companies are trying to cut the fat, they're giving severance packages for early retirement, and people are jumping on them like it's a pot of gold. What do you say to those baby boomers that are in that situation?
I think the biggest thing with that is really number one is preserving capital and to be able to and to create a lifetime income that a person cannot outlive. One of the biggest fears in retirement is running out of money. And next to healthcare and next to taxes, those are the three biggest issues that a retiree would face, right? So retirement income planning and structure a retirement income that you can't outlive. Like I said, most people, what they do is they mortgage their retirements off of risky investments. I see people with, that are 60 years old still with very, very unstable investments. And Right now in this day and age, you can't afford a 30%. I mean, if you're 60 years old or if you're 50 years old, you can't afford a 30-40% loss. You just
No,
can't.
no.
And so it's a very difficult aspect to look at. But the reality is that at that age or that arena is one you must think about protecting their current capital and also having a retirement income strategy that has the ability to stretch retirement income for the rest of their life where they never run out of money.
All right. We are talking to Roger Silvera. He is the CEO of LLWP. And I've been meaning to say this throughout the whole show: Live Life with Purpose, Wealth Partners. I just love the title. It's more than just a financial institution. The title just lets you know that he is interested in helping you not just live your life financially, but live your life in such a way that you can live your life on purpose. And so, Roger, you've got a new book coming out real soon called
Yeah.
Cash Slow to Cash Flow. So what can these three groups that we've been talking about, the millennials, the Generation X, and the baby boomers, how can that book help them? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the book is a concept that came into my mind. It was funny because I've been working with a young lady named Allison Bird out of San Antonio, Texas. She is a
Know her
phenomenal,
well. Yes, yes.
yeah, yeah. So shout out to Allison Bird. She is a tremendous powerhouse in terms of business consulting and really helping entrepreneurial leaders increase their revenues, increase their income. She's known as the Profit Accelerator, and helping people really understand how to build revenue models in their business so that they can maximize their true gifts. And one of the things is really, through the aspect of marketing and positioning, all right, position yourself as a credible expert through speaking and writing.
Yes.
And so I was at a conference, and I've always wanted to write a book, but she was actually giving me a project that says, you know what, we're going to go ahead and support you in this, and however long it takes for you to write, to come up with everything. Actually, what case stemmed from an interview for that matter. It was done via an interview, and then they took it and transcribed it and made it into the text that it is now. And it's just being edited. It's been edited, a couple times. So they were making sure that the final product is going to be great. And so, but it's an ebook form, and then we're going to turn into a paperback book because one of the things that cash flow recognizes or relates to is people having a inundation of information. Again, they're cash flow. They're really financially illiterate. To help somebody become financially literate through education, through advocacy, through um, through awareness of the choices that they make, right? Being financially literate is all about choices. If you take anything from what I shared tonight, it's all about choices, right? And so being financially literate is all about choices, really making the right choices with your money. And so there's things in that book that talk about, sound fundamental strategies and really having your mindset right when it comes to the aspect of money and looking at money as a vessel, versus something that you hold on to, right? Uh, People don't understand that you can attract. Go ahead.
Before you move past that, because when you throw out a nugget, I got to jump right on it. You talk about money as being part of a mindset. So in your practice and in running around and talking with clients and advising them, what kind of obstacles do you see with your clients' mindset when it comes to money?
Old beliefs. Old
Okay.
beliefs. And you can't unprogram stuff that's been in their head. Just like that. It's not going to happen. You got to help them see. It's not even just a logic aspect because it really comes down to an emotional aspect. you know Given the decisions that they make today, emotionally, how will that turn out for them? Will they be able to retire at the same current standard of living that they live today, or do they have to adjust their lifestyle at some point, potentially? And that's a sobering fact. All right, is some person says, well, I haven't saved enough money. Well, again, well, if that's the case and they recognize that, that's wonderful. But most people haven't even recognized that they haven't even saved enough money, right?
Yeah.
I
And they
know for sure. Yeah, I know for sure. For me, even as a practitioner, I haven't saved enough money, right? So I know I need to do better in that particular arena. It's not even just about saving money, but it's also about being efficient with every dollar that you have.
So how do you touch on that topic in your book, Cash Slow to Cash Flow? What do you say to people about their mindset and how to move past that aspect so that they can uh, have their cash flowing?
Well, I think the biggest thing is eliminate the roadblocks in terms of how you think money works and be open to new ideas and suggestions, first and foremost. The second is understanding basic financial concepts like Rule of 72, like understanding the impact of losses and taxes, like understanding the impact of these four specific questions I just mentioned, being open to new information and then taking that information and creating a solid plan from that. Um, one of the things that I would always advise people to look at is the value of professional advice. All right. We live in a world where people want to do it themselves. We want, we hear DIY, DIY, right?
Yes.
Well, DIY is good in our business to a degree. Okay. Um, One of the things I tell people is that um, you still need to have enough fortitude to go out and gather information. But when it comes down to making financial decisions, it's important to have the professional advice of a trained professional in your corner. Actually, even a series of trained professionals in different arenas. Ones in taxes like CPAs, or people that do your wills and estates like your estate plan, or people that are in real estate and maybe have ideas on how you can maximize your income using real estate. There's a different myriad of people, bankers, you name it. But all these people are very, very integral. Mortgage professionals, how you pay for a mortgage is also a key aspect into how people, what we call waste money unknowingly and unnecessarily. Right? There's different what we call unnecessary wealth transfers that exist with people. Typically, their taxes, their mortgages, how they fund their 401ks, and also how they fund major ticket, more big ticket items, as we call them, like cars, homes, boats, whatever. How they fund these particular entities have a bearing effect on how they create wealth. So I think the biggest thing with financial literacy is all about choice. And then once you understand how to make good choices, then really maximizing that gift.
Okay. So what other things can they learn in the book? And how is your book different from other financial books that may be out there on the marketplace right now, Roger?
I think the biggest thing is that it gives people a real depiction of the landscape of the financial services, landscape, and why there's so many people that, like we talked about, that have trouble making financial decisions because they are simply financially illiterate, you know, and the awareness, creating the awareness so that they can understand how and where to get education, how to get themselves informed, and the value of professional advice, right? Um, because one of the things I see a lot of financial books do is they recommend certain areas or certain products or services or whatever in a blind fashion. One of the things that this book does not do is give specific recommendations, right? So we want to make sure that our readers, get an objective point of view, but they can understand just the basic concepts with relation as related to building a sound financial house, right? And so it's a book that is centered around fundamental principles. It's a book that gives people um, an aspect into my particular story, and the reason why I'm so passionate about financial literacy. But it's a book just to create awareness. It's really what it is. It's really a book to create awareness about why we need to change this particular country, even the world for that matter, with relation to financial illiteracy. Um, it's sad that 2 out of 3 people in this day and age Okay, 2 out of 3 people are financially illiterate, and that's what drives me is to
Well,
fix that.
sounds like it's going to be an incredible book. How many chapters in it, and if you and when are you expecting to get it out there into the universe, into the hands of us financially illiterate people that need it?
Yep, it's right now. It's in the final stages of editing, so they're coming up with the book cover and all that good stuff. My intention is hopefully by the end of July that we'll have it done, and then we got to translate that into a physical book. So maybe that's another 30, 60 days. So maybe by August, September we have it done. That's my time frame for it. Um, I'm very cautious because I want to make sure that the information out is going to be fresh. It's going to be insightful, but it's also going to be purely educational. Um, and so, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to getting it out there, and people will desire to have a good understanding of how their money works, and we want to give that to people and let them know that we're there for them.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great read. It's definitely for people who want to get an education on where they are in their financial literacy rating. I mean, some of us have probably never even taken the time to consider where we are on that level. We could be on a first grade level in terms of our finances, we could be on a high school level. But either way, as we continue to grow older, our financial situations change, and we need to be able to change with those changes. We need to know what that means. And it sounds like your book is almost like that GPS system that we install in our financial card to make sure that when we get to this turn that we know what the next turn is going to be. So it sounds like a great read. It's called Cash Flow to Cash Flow by Roger A. Silvera, and we're looking forward to seeing it coming out in August. But Roger, as we wind down to the end of our show today, I want to ask you, from a financial a specialist as yourself, what do you see as the future of our finances, and what do you see as the future of financial literacy for the country and for the world?
Well, it's something that I know that it needs to start with the homes. It needs to start with the parents. It needs to start with raising awareness on a national level with our congressmen, our senators, or even our president. Our first lady. All the new whoever becomes president, or if it's Hillary Clinton. The first, I guess, the first gentleman, if you want to call it that. There has to be a fundamental aspect to bringing financial literacy into the hearts of people from that end of it, and also from the grassroots level, which is simply the parents, teaching their children about money at an early age. What's going to change this society is creating a higher level of awareness that how money works. And one of the things, like I said, is that we have this How Money Works campaign where we want to get into schools. We want to get into different arenas where, parents can teach their kids about how money works, right? The rule of 72, impact of losses and taxes, right? Just simple financial concepts that they can understand that can help them create a better life for themselves. Financial literacy, ladies and gentlemen, starts with you. It doesn't start with anybody else. It starts with you. And the thing is, if you take it seriously and you're able now to create a success story, what that does is inspire somebody else to get their stuff together in order, and it's a chain reaction effect. And so we want to be able to affect as many people as possible through proper financial education. And so that's why our firm, myself, we're very passionate about what we do. And I know for sure, if you start looking at your financial futures a little bit differently, you'll start to see the success that you desire.
Okay. So your book isn't coming out till August, but if someone wanted to get in contact with you right now, are you providing any one-on-one sessions? Are you doing any webinars or seminars? How can they have a deeper conversation with Roger?
Yes, they can go to my website. It's www.rogersilveraonline.com. That's SILV as in Victor, ERA. So Roger, ROGER, silveraonline.com. And then on my website, you can see some different videos that we've created on a How Money Works campaign. One of them is called The End of Wealth and Retirement as You Know It. And so people can get access to our video content. They can access our downloadable ebook that we've created as a firm called American Dream Sticker Shop. Right now, there's people that don't understand that the American Dream costs $130,000 a year to fund the average American Dream. And so, how many people do you know they're actually making $130,000 a year? Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, there's not a lot of people that are making that type of money.
And
But
is
it's
that
what,
is that 133,000 per person? Because I mean, we could be talking about married people. We could be talking about families. Is that just for the household, or is that an individual number to live that dream?
you know what? I believe that's an individual number.
Wow.
So, but it takes a lot of money in this day and age if you really look at the aspect of the landscape of how college education, just different aspects, dining and eating now. Everything has gotten so expensive at this point in this day and age that it takes a certain level of income to support having even an average dream lifestyle, let alone a superior dream lifestyle, right? And so what we're
Right.
looking to do is give people access to not only financial tools and resources that they can make better financial decisions with, but also helping people become financially, wealthy through entrepreneurship, and to be able to offer entrepreneurial opportunities through the usage of financial services, of the financial services platform, meaning that people can become in our particular line of work, they can become financial services professionals themselves and actually join the crusade in talking about financial literacy. If that's something that's of interest to you, go to my website, send me an email. We'll be glad to respond to you. And because what we do, I'll tell you what, the average age of a lot of financial professionals is getting up there in age. We need more people at the millennial status, and the in the 30 to 50, I would say 30 to 50 range for that matter. We need more people between 20 and 50 as an example. Now, it's a big range, but
Yes.
we need more people in that environment to become financial professionals, because guess what? They need to be serving the senior population, right? They need to be serving the business owner community, right? There is a influx of people, especially women for that matter. I'll give you another thing too. Our firm specifically is linking up with Martha Stewart. Okay, and now
Okay.
Martha Stewart has an initiative where what we're doing is it's basically more for catering toward women and helping women become financially literate. But so a woman entrepreneur specifically doesn't have to be limited to women, but it's specifically designed for women, where a woman that becomes a financial professional in our firm can get access to a database that is people that are following Martha Stewart can now get access to a financial professional in their area simply by now them becoming licensed to do what we do and be a part of what we do and join the crusade in terms of them being a catalyst for financial literacy. To me, that's invaluable, because, yeah, I think Martha Stewart has a big brand. All right, she has a big name and reputation, and a lot of women follow her. So, for
Yeah.
that matter, for us to be a catalyst in that crusade to help women become financially literate, that's a project that is definitely eye opening to many women that I talk to, and so it's exciting from that standpoint. And it's exciting times for our firm and what we're doing, because we're changing the landscape of the financial services industry by digitally disrupting the financial services industry, meaning that video content, like the stuff on my site, is all video content related. People can be at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning watching those videos and getting a financial education where I don't have to physically do a meeting. All
The
right.
DIY.
And that's, yeah, DIY, right. And so we're not saying take the DIY out, but we're saying enhance the DIY with tools and resources that are very, very um, integral in tying your message as a financial professional in my industry, tying our message in there. so that they can see us as a value-added asset to their team.
I love it. Well, Roger, we thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your busy time with us here on the Next Level Living Show. Roger
Yep.
Silvera, the CEO of Living Life with Purpose Wealth Partners and the future author of the book Cash Slow to Cash Flow. I just love how that just flows right off my tongue. That's a great title. Can't wait to see that book. And definitely when we get closer to August, if you want to come back on the show to talk about the book, you are more than welcome to come. Would you do that for us?
Absolutely. We're glad to do it, man.
We appreciate you. Get in contact if you want to have a deeper conversation with Roger at rogersilveraonline.com, ROGERSILVERA online.com. And you can check out his videos. You can shoot him an email if you're interested in the How Money Works movement that he's starting out. And definitely give him take this information and run with this information. And you know what I like to say to people is this week we talked about having making a difference. And I've shared that you are able to make a difference in whatever it is that you're doing by your actions, by your beliefs, by the lifestyle that you live, and by the expectations that you have for yourself. Roger, we can hear your music in the background. Can you mute yourself?
Yeah, sorry about that. Let me do that. Yeah.
Okay. So what Roger is doing in LLWP Wealth Partners, he's using his actions, the actions of educating, the actions of providing information, the actions of providing counseling and guidance to make a difference in the lives of the financially illiterate. And he believes that by doing that, he is creating a better society and he's creating a better world. And what he's doing with his agency, his company, is he's leveraging the talents, the abilities, and the gifts that his company has with other companies like the Martha Stewarts of the world, like the other financial institutions of the world. He's leveraging his tag, his talents, his abilities, and his gifts with others to really turn this into a movement, not just a message. And he expects that as a result of his actions, his beliefs, and leveraging his talents, abilities, and gifts, that we're all going to be in a better place financially. And isn't that what it's all about? We're moving from financial illiteracy to financial literacy. So we thank men like Roger Silvera, women, and other financial professionals who are all working together to make us be a more financial literate world. And if it's one thing I know is if you are able to make a difference like Roger is, you're going to be unstoppable. Thank you guys for watching the Next Level Living Show with Coach Terrance. Until we connect again, I don't want you to just have a great week. I want you to have an unstoppable week. And I know if you get some financial literacy in your life, you're going to be living your life on the next level. Take care, family.